We're so happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with us, representing Whole Woman Network.
Yeah, hi Janelle. It's really a pleasure to be here.
We're going to get into the set of questions, if that's okay. So the first question is, why did you choose to pursue the cooperative model for Whole Woman Network?
Very interesting question. Why? I think basically for us, because we've been around since 2010, but only as an informal, sort of an informal cooperative, a social enterprise that's just focused on women and youth. Marginalized women and youth. But we realized that over the years, we've actually been operating using cooperative principles without calling ourselves, a cooperative. So a lot of that over the years, when we started learning more about the cooperative model, we found that there was so much, the affinity was a lot, right? And we then started seeing other cooperatives and just the approach to business, which is really putting people first, right? They really encompass that whole people, planet, profit, where everything was around the community instead of putting profit first. So one huge thing too was there's another formally incorporated cooperative that I became a part of, and just the journey that they've had. This is the Black Women Professional Worker Co-op since 2001 till date. We realized that the growth has really been outstanding. And this is because of the ecosystem, the cooperative ecosystem that they are plugged in. And so we're saying, why not? Perhaps there's a real need for us to really look at the cooperative model and see how that serves our community. And that's the journey that we've been on. And it's been amazing, like being in this phase of converting to a formal cooperative. Thank you.
That sounds like a wonderful sort of realization and a wonderful series of events. Thanks so much for sharing. And then that leads nicely into the next question, which is what have you and workers sort of been able to achieve with this model, or how has that process of conversion been for you so far?
Oh, great. Great question again. I think for us, the journey, this conversion journey, right, from an informal, social enterprise that's now wanting to be a cooperative, it's been very interesting. Initially, when we started, we thought it was going to be very challenging, right, because it's a whole new business model. However, since the pandemic, we realized the urgency because the pandemic really disproportionately affected, marginalized, equity denied group, a lot of the underrepresented group that we serve, in particular Black women, right? And we're a Black-led organization. And so when we started researching into, what the cooperative model is really about, all the principles, how to formally, incorporate as a cooperative. And we're able to link up with the Canadian Worker Co-op Federation. And through them, we had access to training, cooperative training organizations like Freedom Dreams, for instance, and even the webinars that the Federation and other co-op institutions hold, whether it's the CMC or even the Ontario Cooperative Association. There were just so many webinars and workshops and even materials on their website. Like the Federation, I know, has this JEDI conversion webinars, right? And so with all that knowledge and with all that kind of like support system, where really, I think the transition has really been much better than we envisaged, right? Like we're finding that when we have questions, when we meet a stumbling block, there's someone to help with that. And we're also finding there are so many other organizations like ours that are interested in this conversation around conversion, because a lot of organizations, businesses in our communities, some of them are shutting down since the pandemic. just because, you know, they lack access to capital, access to resources, to the support systems. And so it's interesting that while we're on this journey, we're also having the conversation with the larger community to say this is worth exploring, and you know we're all doing it together. Thank you.
Okay, and the last question, question number three. So could you please share what are your organization's sort of social, cultural, maybe environmental mission or values and why?
Oh, thank you. I think I'd like to just start out that even though we're Black-led, a Black-led organization, and we anchor a lot of the work we do on Indigenous African values, specifically the Kwanzaa principles and Igbo values, we found resonance with the larger Canadian society. So all different cultures, ethnicities, races, come to us, right, to learn some of the principles and values, and we find equivalent in their cultures. And I think that the overarching thing is that these are universal values because the values around unity, self-determination, you know, shared work and responsibility, things like purpose, having faith, and like just creativity, and a key value, Igbo value, which is a Nigerian value, is Onyaga na Nwania, which really translates to leave no one behind, right, and speaks to the essence of shared prosperity. So our real social-cultural, environmental purpose wraps itself around people, planet, and profit, where people are the center, right? Community is at the center, building communities, as immigrants, as Africans, as, you know, whatever groups you may find yourself, that we all connect and we can empower leaders, women and youth specifically, to become transformational leaders of these communities and equip them with the financial skills and the economic agency that they need to thrive, and, you know, transform their world. Thank you.